You're chilling in your backyard with your loyal dog, soaking up the sun. When suddenly a buzzing menace dives from the sky like a kamikaze pilot straight at your furry best friend. That's exactly what happened to me. Alex. When my entitled neighbor Brad decided his drone hobby trumped everyone else's peace. In a split second. That whirring machine turned our quiet suburb into a battlefield. And boy, did karma come calling hard. It all started on a crisp Saturday morning in our cozy neighborhood in suburban Chicago. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass mixed with the faint tang of barbecue smoke from down the street, you know. That perfect weekend vibe. I was out back with Max, my golden retriever, tossing a frayed tennis ball across the yard. Max bounded after it, his tail wagging like a metronome on steroids, letting out those joyful yips that always make me smile. But then, this incessant buzzing cut through the air, like a swarm of angry bees on steroids. I looked up, and there it was, Brad's fancy drone, hovering over the fence line like some nosy spy. Brad had moved in next door about 6 months ago, strutting around like he owned the whole block. He was the type of guy who'd blast his leaf blower at 7 a.m. on Sundays, just because he could. "Hey, Alex," he'd yell over the fence, his voice dripping with that fake friendliness that hides a superiority complex. "You really ought to trim that hedge, it's encroaching on my property line." As if his manicured lawn was the eighth wonder of the world. I'd sigh, roll my eyes, and mutter under my breath, "Whatever, man." But I kept it civil, life's too short for neighbor wars. Right? That day, though, things escalated faster than a bad TikTok trend. The drone dipped low, zipping right over Max's head. My dog froze, ears perked, then let out a confused whine that tugged at my heartstrings. "Brad!" I shouted, waving my arms. "Get that thing away from my yard." He peeked over the fence, smirking, his sunglasses perched on his nose like he was some action movie villain. "Relax, Alex. It's just a little fun. Your mutt's scaring off the birds I'm filming." Fun? My blood boiled. Max wasn't scaring anything, he was just being a dog in his own space. But Brad didn't stop. Oh no. He cranked it up a notch. The drone swooped down again, this time clipping Max's ear with its propeller. My poor pup yelped, a sharp, piercing cry that echoed through my chest like a dagger. "What the hell, Brad?" I roared, scooping Max up as he trembled in my arms, his warm fur damp with fear sweat. The metallic whiff of blood hit my nostrils, a tiny nick, but enough to make my vision blur with rage. Brad laughed, actually laughed. "Oops. Tell your dog to stay out of my flight path next time." Was this guy for real? Attacking an innocent animal with a toy? My hands shook as I checked Max over, his big brown eyes looking up at me with that heartbreaking trust. How could someone be so heartless? I stormed inside, heart pounding like a drum in a rock concert, and grabbed my phone. First things first, vet appointment. Max was okay. Just a superficial cut. But the vet bill? $200 I didn't need to spend. As I sat there in the waiting room, the sterile smell of antiseptic mixing with the low hum of fluorescent lights, I replayed the scene. Brad's smug grin, the drone's menacing buzz, Max's pained yelp, it all fueled this fire in my gut. Why did entitled jerks like him always think rules didn't apply? I decided then and there, this wasn't ending with a polite chat. No way. Back home, I did some digging. Turns out, Brad wasn't just a drone enthusiast, he was a real estate agent. The kind who flips houses and brags about it on social media. I scrolled through his Instagram, pictures of him in suits, posing in front of sold signs. Captions like, "Another win for the king of the block." Gag me. But here's where the twist kicked in, while nosing around neighborhood forums, you know. Those Facebook groups where everyone vents. I found complaints about Brad from years back. Apparently, he'd been cited for noise violations in his old town. And get this, he'd once used his drone to harass a neighbor's cat, leading to a small claims suit he barely won. Patterns. People. Entitled folks like him leave trails. That night, as thunder rumbled in the distance like a warning from the universe, I couldn't sleep. The rain pattered against my window, a soothing rhythm that clashed with my swirling thoughts. What if Max had been seriously hurt? What if it happened again? I tossed and turned, the sheets twisting around me like my growing frustration. By morning, fueled by black coffee that burned my tongue, I filed a police report. Assault on property, I told the officer. A no-nonsense woman named Officer Ramirez. She raised an eyebrow, her pen scratching across the notepad with that crisp sound. With a drone? That's a new one. But she took it seriously. Especially when I showed her the vet bill and a shaky video I'd captured on my phone, the drone's aggressive dives clear as day. Brad's reaction? Priceless. He banged on my door that afternoon, face red as a tomato, veins bulging in his neck. You called the cops on me? Over a dog, he bellowed, his breath hot and sour with whatever cheap beer he'd been chugging. I stood my ground, arms crossed, feeling a surge of empowerment. Yeah. Brad. You hurt my dog. What did you expect? He sputtered. It was an accident. You're overreacting. Oh. The irony, the king of overreactions calling me out. We argued right there on the porch, voices rising with the wind that whipped leaves around us. Neighbors peeked from windows. The curtain-twitching kind of drama that spreads like wildfire. But wait. It gets juicier. Officer Ramirez showed up later, knocking on Brad's door with that authoritative rap that makes your stomach drop. I watched from my window, sipping tea that suddenly tasted like victory. Turns out, flying drones aggressively near animals could fall under animal cruelty laws in our state. Brad denied everything. Of course. But my video was damning. He got a citation, a slap on the wrist. But it was just the beginning. As she left, Ramirez tipped her hat to me. Good on you for standing up. We've had complaints about this guy before. Word spread fast in our tight-knit cul-de-sac. Susan, Brad's wife, a mousy woman who'd always seemed overshadowed by his bluster, started avoiding eye contact when we'd pass on walks. I overheard snippets at the mailbox. Did you hear about Brad's drone stunt? Yeah. What a jerk. The isolation hit him hard, his king of the block facade cracked like cheap plaster. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in fiery oranges, I caught Brad yelling at Susan inside their house. Muffled shouts. A door slammed that rattled the windows, the sound of a marriage fraying at the edges. Then came the big twist. While investigating, I discovered Brad's real estate license was up for renewal. A quick search revealed that any criminal citations could jeopardize it. Animal cruelty? That's a red flag in ethics reviews. I didn't have to do much, I just anonymously tipped off his brokerage with the police report. Hey! Public records are fair game. Weeks later, the hammer fell. Brad lost a big client, some high roller who'd heard about the drone incident through the grapevine. His sales plummeted. That smug Instagram feed turning into desperate posts, looking for leads. Hustle hard. But karma wasn't done. Oh no. Max and I were out one stormy afternoon, the air thick with ozone, when Brad's drone appeared again. This time, he was trying to survey his yard. But the wind caught it. It veered wildly, crashing into his own prized rose bushes. Thorns tore at the propellers with a satisfying crunch. Brad cursed up a storm, his voice carrying over the fence like a defeated hull. Damn it, he yelled, kicking the wreckage. I couldn't help but chuckle. A deep, relieving laugh that bubbled up from my chest. Was this the universe's way of saying, gotcha? The real climax hit when animal control got involved. Turns out, Max's injury qualified for a deeper probe. And Brad's history of complaints painted him as a repeat offender. In court, a stuffy room smelling of old coffee and tension, I testified. My voice steady despite the butterflies in my stomach. He deliberately targeted my dog, I said. Locking eyes with Brad, who squirmed in his seat like a kid caught cheating. The judge, a stern man with a gavel that boomed like thunder, wasn't impressed. Mr. Thompson, he intoned. Your actions show a blatant disregard for others. Fine of $5,000. Community service at the animal shelter. And your drone privileges revoked for a year. Brad's face crumpled, that entitled mask shattering into pieces. He lost his job shortly after. The brokerage couldn't afford the bad press. Susan filed for divorce, taking half of everything in a messy split that left him couch surfing at a buddy's place. Last I heard, he was flipping burgers at a fast food joint. His king days reduced to, would you like fries with that? The neighborhood breathed a collective sigh of relief. The air lighter without his drone's buzz. As for me and Max, we're thriving. He chases that tennis ball with extra gusto now. His scar a badge of survival. Every time I hear a distant hum, I smile, knowing justice prevailed. Life's too short to let entitled bullies win. Folks, stand up for what's right, even if it's your four-legged family, and watch karma do its thing. What goes around comes around. And sometimes, it comes with a crash. In the end, Brad lost everything, his hobby, his job, his marriage, his home. And me, I gained peace. And a story that'll make you cheer. Remember, true power isn't in gadgets or attitude, it's in kindness and accountability. Who's with me on that?